Okay, let's dive into a truly mind-bending thought experiment. Imagine someone could just flip a switch, and for 60 seconds, the single most constant thing in our universe, the spin of our planet, just stops. What you're about to hear isn't science fiction. It's a second-by-second breakdown based on a real, rigorous scientific simulation. This is the physics of the apocalypse.
You know, we're all passengers on this planet, hurtling through space at incredible speeds, and we never feel a thing. It's like the ultimate trust fall, right? But what happens if the planet breaks that trust? What if it stops, but we don't? Well, for 60 seconds, the very laws of physics that protect us become the instruments of our total annihilation. Take a look at this number. Right now, if you're anywhere near the equator, this is your speed. You, your house, the air you're breathing, everything is moving at over 1,000 kilometers an hour. We don't feel it because everything is moving together. We're all caught in the same giant invisible current.
And here's the problem. The answer lies in one single, relentless law of physics: inertia. Your body, the oceans, the air itself, all of it wants to keep moving at that incredible speed, even if the solid rock of the planet has slammed on the brakes. And that, right there, is where the end of the world begins.
So the very first thing to betray us is the air. See, the atmosphere isn't bolted to the ground. So when the planet stops, the air doesn't. In less than a second, every gentle breeze on Earth becomes a supersonic blast, a planet-wide wall of wind moving faster than a fighter jet.
Let's be clear, this isn't a storm, it's more like a planetary-scale sandblaster. It's not even weather anymore. It's a shockwave of air wrapping around the entire globe, carrying enough raw force to literally erase civilization from the map in an instant. To really get a grip on this force, just look at these numbers. It only takes about 5 pounds of pressure per square inch, that's 5 psi, to flatten a wooden house. 10 psi will turn reinforced concrete to rubble. This wind? It's a continuous, relentless blast, hitting with almost double the force needed to turn a skyscraper into dust. Nothing we have ever built would last a single second. And it's not just wind, it's friction on a planetary scale. The air itself becomes an unbelievable source of heat, instantly jacking up surface temperatures by over 70 degrees Celsius. In a single moment, the world's forests, its grasslands, they don't just catch fire, they detonate, all while being torn to shreds by the same supersonic winds that set them ablaze. But the wind, as horrifying as it is, it's almost a gentle caress compared to what happens next. Because it's not just the air that keeps moving, it's everything. In one instant, every person, every car, every tree, every single living thing becomes a projectile. You are no longer standing on the ground, you are being fired across it at the speed of a bullet from a high-powered rifle. In a scenario like this, biology just gives way to pure physics. The forces are so extreme that biological terms, like person, they just stop having any meaning. You basically become a collection of mass with a very, very specific kinetic energy. Physics now assigns your body a number, and for an average person, that number is 8.61 megajoules of kinetic energy. It doesn't mean much on its own, I know, but trust me, it represents an amount of destructive force that is just not compatible with life. So what does 8.61 megajoules actually mean in the real world? Well, it's about the same impact energy as a 120 millimeter anti-tank round. So every living thing on the surface doesn't just die. They impact the ground with the force of heavy artillery and are instantly vaporized. Buildings are sheared right off their foundations. Entire cities are ground into dust. All of civilization is transformed into this hyper-dense, superheated slurry, and all of it is moving eastward at supersonic speeds, scouring the bedrock completely clean. And as hard as this is to believe, the complete annihilation of everything on land, that's just the opening act. The real catastrophe, the main event, is happening in the oceans. See, the oceans, with their absolutely unimaginable mass, they also keep moving. They don't just create a wave. The entire ocean becomes a single, planet-sized wave. This isn't water anymore. It's a liquid battering ram with more kinetic energy than any other single object in our solar system besides, a planet itself. This chart, this really puts the scale into terrifying perspective. The kinetic energy of the sloshing oceans is over 300 times greater than the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. It is just an unimaginable, incomprehensible release of power. As this continent-sized mass of water slams into the stationary land, all of that kinetic energy is converted into height. The waves would be high enough to wash over the peak of Mount Everest, stripping the continents down to nothing but bare, barren rock.
And then, somehow, it gets worse. The 60 seconds are up. The Earth lurches back to life, re-accelerating to its full speed. But this isn't a rescue. Oh no. This is the second and final impact.
Think about it. Everything that was just scoured from west to east, that slurry of cities, the boiling oceans, it's all started to slow down from friction. But now, the solid ground of the planet slams into all of it from behind. It's a planetary-scale rear-end collision. Anything that could have possibly survived the first impact is now ground between the hammer of the atmosphere and the anvil of the Earth's crust.
So, what's left? After this single catastrophic minute, what's left? The planet survives, sure, but it is permanently and unrecognizably scarred. The very geology and climate of Earth are just reset to zero. The planet is now just fundamentally broken. The crust is fractured, which unleashes volcanoes on a global scale. The core's rotation is disrupted, so our magnetic shield, the only thing protecting us from deadly solar radiation, collapses. What used to be the oceans is now just a thick, boiling, toxic atmosphere. The Earth is no longer a place that can support life. It's sterilized.
You know, in the end, the planet doesn't really die. It is reborn as something sterile, scoured, and utterly hostile. And I think the ultimate takeaway here isn't one of fear, but of just profound gratitude. We live our lives on a razor's edge, held in place by a constant, silent spin. It's a reminder that the most ordinary, predictable thing in our lives, the simple turning of the world, is also the most precious thing we have. It's the one thing that keeps the apocalypse at bay, 1 second at a time.